Good morning, everyone. Today we're checking out a brand new video from Popcross Studios, A Little Help from Off-Screen, Trismegistus Academy, episode 19. Let's hop in.
There's some special context for today's episode of the Trismegistus Academy, so let's briefly jump back in time to about 3 weeks ago. This is a very special, everyone.
Oh!
This is a very special, everyone. This is a very special video because Alex here used his wish through the Make-A-Wish Foundation to get his whole family to fly up from the States to the Great White North to see me and spend the day with me. And so I wanted to make sure it was as special as possible. I've actually made a...
Yes, I do remember that video. I just didn't decide to watch it. And I know, I probably should have, but honestly, that's not something that needs a reaction. So... no.
Full video about the day that I got to spend with Alex and his family, and talking about how we got to this day, how it happened. And I think it's a very fun, heartwarming, inspiring episode. I recommend checking it out. I'll link it in the description. But for the purposes of today, all you really need to know is that I gave Alex a choice between being written into the Trismegistus Academy series as his own original character, or taking an existing Multiverse Tales character that I hinted was going to be showing up today, off screen, and naming that character after him and designing it to look like Alex.
Oh,
Alex
that's really nice.
Choice, and so we have our new off-screen, everybody.
I mean, I can't exactly do the voice. You're too squeaky with it.
Oh, well, I for him, I literally do Benny Sharp's voice and I add a filter. I'm cheating on that one. The characters that I have a filter for, Anna, I put it on.
So it's an actual character called Off-Screen. Huh. That is actually kind of interesting.
Off-screen. And I have to change up Kaiju Grex's for, oh,
spoiler?
I'm gonna turn off the camera for this.
Hit like
if you want. Subscribe if you feel like it. By the way, enjoy the show. Okay, here we go.
Previously on the Trismegistus Academy, the Maverick class from the Trismegistus Academy for Heroic Enlightenment, or Tahe, has been trapped in one of Eloise Ludum's death arenas, under the ruse that they were...
You know what? I bet that gym gets really itchy because of where it's placed. Jake's, I don't know why I was about to call him Jim. Jake's is at least in a bit more of an optimal place with it being on the back of the hand. But when it's on the foot like that, that is kind of awkward as hell. One wrong step and that's going to be painful.
Coming to have a competition in her realm with the 7 toughest students of her Ludum Academy for Fearsome Fighters.
The Laugh Academy.
The LAFF. Now those students are trapped in the arenas with them. In order to move on from the arenas to a final boss, the students must earn 27 points by either killing the monstrous Laughing Littles in the arenas, or killing a student from the opposing school. 3 of the treacherous Archon demons, who are currently ravaging the multiverse, were invited by Ludum to watch, along with the rest of Ludum's school and some of the remaining overseers of the multiverse. They're all on floating platforms above the invisible barrier, keeping the students trapped inside. A team of multiverse-traversing superheroes, goofily referred to as the Sharp Gang, that Tahe students Jake and Anna are a part of, are waiting and ready for Ludum to be teleported to them in Dimension T905 so that they can defeat Ludum once and for all, as was a plan that had been made by the Maverick class. But that plan to get her there is much more difficult to achieve now that Ludum has trapped the students in this arena.
Oh, it's that guy
Umarek, an LAFF student who is secretly on the side of the Tahe kids, along with his ally Katos, aka Tale Fanimo, tried using his own backup plan to get
granddaughter of Ortis Fanimo
to Ludum, but it failed. Though he strongly suspects that another very recent member of the LAFF, trapped somewhere in the arena, will still be able to help them escape from wherever he is, off-screen. Let's see if War was right about that in the next chapter of the Trismegistus Academy. When the Mavericks were all dragged into their various arenas, Jake at least had the comfort of being pulled into the same one as Anna. The two of them were both...
Ooh, while it is comforting, that is also kind of a downside because of one thing. You both will be trying to make sure the other one doesn't get hurt, meaning there's a likelihood of someone, well, again, fatally injured. That is one downside of whenever a couple is put in the same arena.
Tossed onto small, stony, island-like forms in a stadium primarily made up of black water. There were a few dozen islands floating on the unsettling lake, and many more hovering in the air above and around them. Jake watched as the fin of a serpent-like beast skimmed the top of the water, then vanished below. He could also see a few eerie, grinning faces of Littles peering down from the platforms above. Jake could quickly tell they were going to be attacked from above and below. Across the arena, he saw their two main competitors, Kalita Jackal, the daughter of another universe's variant of Anubis, allegedly from dimension T454, and Oliver Deimos, a boy with a demon inside him who hungered for fear. Jake saw this as a small victory as well. He and Anna...
Hey, correct me if I'm wrong, but Deimos is also the name of one of the moons orbiting Mars. So, I guess technically both of them are, in a way, children of alternate gods.
Got their powers from gems made to combat demons of fear. But that didn't mean the fight would be easy.
Oh, not even
gave
close.
her rant about the rules of the game, then seemed to quickly turn her attention to another arena when the games began. Jake immediately flew over to the island Anna was standing on. He grabbed her hand and looked into her eyes. "We're gonna get through this, okay? You and me, but also the others. We'll get to them and work together as soon as we can." She took a deep breath, then nodded with a surprisingly confident smile.
"Right. I know we will. Let's do it."
They quickly kissed, and that was all the surge of energy and determination Jake needed to be ready for whatever came their way. "Oh look, that's cute. We've got a couple," Oliver muttered with utter lack of enthusiasm. "How predictable would it be for their fears to be losing each other?" A growling voice then rumbled from inside his chest.
"I don't care what it is as long as I can feed on it."
With his hands firmly shoved in his pockets, Oliver's legs were transformed in a swell of purple and red smoke into tiger-like limbs. He leapt from one platform to the next until he was one island away from Jake and Anna. He thrust his hand forward and the smoke surged off his legs and flew right towards the Tahe couple. Anna firmly gripped Jake's shoulder and held her breath. The smoke of the nightmare demon shot right through them both. Hands and claws leapt out of it and tried to grasp their intangible bodies. Jake then grabbed Anna tightly and flew straight up out of the plume. It started chasing them, but then had to retreat back to Oliver's body. Jake and Anna quickly realized that it could only get a certain distance away from him. Jake flew straight up through a platform to be out of Oliver's sight, then landed on it, as Anna took a...
Too bad neither of these guys can construct, anything, because then if they could trap that demon... and it would pretty much leave Deimos there unable to attack and fight.
They both quickly looked around for Jackal. They spotted her springing up onto a distant platform in the air, but she didn't seem to be coming for them. It was more like she was scoping out the arena. Jake also thought he noticed her giving a long, leering look up at either Ludum or the Archons floating on platforms next to her. As he looked up at them himself, he also noticed some of Gatli's mechanical drones, the shutterbugs, flying above the arena, pointing their lenses down at them. She'd brought those so kids and faculty back at Tahe could watch the competition when they thought this was just a regular combat tournament. Jake was at least glad that meant that people at Tahe knew what was going on and could relay that back to the Sharp Gang. Jake then heard a loud splash and peered down over the edge of the platform. Below them, a red...
I wonder how long it would take for the Sharp Gang to actually get here.
...armored humanoid mollusk-like Luddle had sprung out of the water and tackled Oliver. He converted his arm into a demon claw, grabbed the Luddle, and hurled it off him, but it landed in the water and was quickly coming for him again. At least he'd be distracted for the moment.
Heads off.
Unfortunately, he wasn't the only one who'd caught the eye of a Luddle.
Probably have enough
a flaming streak shot towards Jake and Anna. Anna spotted it and made them both intangible. The blur of blue flew through them, then curved its flight path up, before stopping, hovering in the air, and staring down at them, as if showing off its form. Its flesh was blue and gray, and its tail was made from liquid metal. Both Jake and Anna instantly recognized who it was meant to resemble. Jake said quietly to Anna, "If Ludum thinks making monsters out of Sterling and any of the other Sharp Gang is gonna..."
Oh, okay, right, yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't have a complete memory of every single person ever created in this any of his series, so my guess will probably be wrong. My first thought was Metal Sonic, but no, it's Sterling, like he said.
Mess with our heads, she's wrong.
Blue, gray, and liquid
Anna
metal.
Nodded.
Right.
If anything, it just makes me want to take it out faster so we can stop looking at it.
Yeah, no kidding. Sterling's smile isn't nearly that creepy. I mean, it can look a little creepy sometimes.
You think so too? I'd never say it to him, but, sometimes.
Yeah, just sometimes. Anyway, Jake pointed to a platform just below the Sterling Luddle, and Anna quickly knew what he'd meant for them both to do. She got behind Jake to leap onto his back, but then let out a yelp and was ripped off the platform. Jake whipped around to see her leg had been bound in a chain stretching from Kalita's arm. She'd torn Anna down towards her. Jake tried to immediately leap after her, but was tackled from behind by the Sterling Luddle, and they both flew right towards a lower platform. The Little was stronger than Jake and wrapped its burning arms tightly around him while cackling in his ear. Jake knew he could probably handle a crash landing okay, but it could still hurt a lot, and he wasn't looking to get injured this quickly. His healing powers took time to use, so the less he needed them for himself, the better. He used his own flight to angle them away from the platform and splash into the murky waters. He couldn't see an inch in front of his face, but the impact had disoriented the Little enough for Jake to shove it off him. Before any sea monsters could come for him, Jake flew straight up out of the water.
More like any sea ludums.
Into the air
no, that
and
was
looked
bad.
for Anna.
Cut that.
Kalita was viciously swiping at her, transformed fully into her werejackal form. But Anna was taking quick breaths to let each swipe go through her, then punching and kicking Jackal in the throat, knees, and sternum in her moments of tangibility. It was impressive to watch, but none of the blows seemed to be doing much. Then, Anna raised her arm as one of Kalita's chains came at her, and she let it wrap around her. Before Jackal could use it to pull Anna closer, though, Anna held her breath and fell through the platform, trapping one end of the chain in the ground. Anna then splashed up from the waters on the other side of Kalita, grabbed another of her chains and thrust it into the ground on her other side, then leapt straight up into the air as Jake soared over and caught Anna, carrying her away. "That was awesome, Anna! Even Professor Goggins would be impressed!" Jake cheered for her.
Oh yeah, considering that dude literally had absolutely no powers, yeah.
Unfortunately, that didn't hold Kalita for long. She snarled through fanged teeth, then howled as she ripped her arms up and snapped the ends of the chains, only to have them then grow longer once again as she turned her attention back to the retreating Tahe students. Jake and Anna were both focused on her and what she'd do next as they landed down on one of the lower platforms. The Sterling Little burst back up out of the water and was headed after Jake again. But as it passed Kalita, she furiously leapt up at it, bit into its neck, and started lashing her head about. It started spinning out, but shifted one of its arms into a metal blade, as Sterling can do, and swiped it at her. Jake and Anna's hearts both skipped as they watched Kalita's head stricken from her body. But that did almost nothing to stop her. Her head kept biting farther and farther into its neck as her body clawed and ripped at the Little's flaming arm. Her flesh
benefits of having a god of death as a dad.
And fur were singed and burned, but that didn't stop her either. Soon, she bit right through the Little's neck, and its own head came tumbling off. It crashed into the water, as did Kalita's head and body. Jake then remembered from their intel on her that she could reattach her limbs and even head, but he was still half tempted to go in and help her so she wouldn't drown. But then a cold chill ran through his body. He shook so violently he thought his legs would buckle beneath him. He turned and looked at Anna, but in her place was the rotting corpse of his girlfriend. Suddenly, clawing up from the ground all around him, came zombified versions of the Mavericks. They wheezed and groaned, sounding terrified and in agony. The Alsaya zombie cried, "You failed us, Jake. You could have saved us. Where were you?" Soon he even saw zombified versions of his parents and brother Mason clawing their way up out of the water towards him. Jake's heart raced and thoughts spiraled, but he knew not to listen to them. He tried to channel the same state he was in during Professor Dispenza's morning meditations. He ignored all the fearful thoughts coming and focused on what could be useful to him. Anna, standing in front of him, was the outlier. She may have appeared like a zombie, but she was looking around as if she had no idea where she was, and her eyes were coated over in red and purple haze. Jake grabbed her hands. "Anna, what are you seeing?" She was shocked by his grip.
"Jake, I don't see anyone. I'm alone. There's this horrible feeling in my gut, like everyone abandoned me."
Jake pressed his forehead against hers. "Oliver's demon must have got to us. I'm gonna get us out of here." He wrapped her in a hug, and she hugged him tightly back. He flew them both straight up, and as he did, demonic smoke swelled off of Anna, shifting her back into her normal form, and all the zombies below turned into grim mist as well, surging back together into one form and flying up after them. Jake kept going, moving right next to one of the platforms above, when a fist flew out and struck his cheek. It hurt a little, but was more surprising than anything, so he just kept going, before landing one more platform up and looking Anna in the eyes. They were clear now, and she just smiled happily back at him.
"Thanks, Jake. I knew it wasn't real. I was just a little spooked. I knew you wouldn't leave me behind."
Of course.
"Good. I never would." He then looked back at the next platform down to see Oliver rubbing his knuckle. Nightmare,
and that's a red flag, or death flag, whatever you want to call them,
was swirling back around and forming into clawed arms on his body. "Jeez, punching hurts a lot more when you're not upgrading my fists."
Well, maybe you should express appreciation for me more often, feeble mortal. That's all you are without me, after all.
The demon snarled. Hey, that's not true, Jake yelled instinctively. I don't know you, Oliver, but don't let some demon convince you that you're worthless without it. Oliver just stared at him.
I mean,
are you giving me a pep talk?
Got a point.
You know I'm trying to kill you, right?
And?
Anna then backed Jake up, saying,
Sure, but us Hahe kids are taught to respect our enemies. Even if we have to fight them or stop them, we can still know they're people too. A lot of the time, just hurt or misguided people.
Oliver rolled his eyes, but before he could reply, another voice spoke.
Wow, that Hahe place sounds way better than this crummy wacko school.
Whoa, what the
Jake,
hell?
Anna, and Oliver all whipped their heads towards a figure clad in all black from head to toe, standing with his arms on his waist on another floating platform over.
Oh, it's gotta be off screen. And it's the other kid that took that last place is of the Laugh Academy.
Seriously, how do I go about applying for a transfer? Because wait, no!
A Luddle that looked like a winged woman with a mace tackled the black-clad kid right off his platform.
What, is it Wonder Woman or War Woman from Invincible?
And together they soared towards the water. Just then, a huge sea serpent Luddle burst up, snatched them both in its jaws, and plunged back into the water, dragging them both in along with it.
Well, that was
Then
something.
They were just gone. The students all stared in confusion. Jake looked back at Oliver. That kid was from your school, right? Aren't you gonna help him? Oliver rolled his eyes. I'm not friends with these creeps. Though, that Alex kid is pretty funny. I might help him if I actually thought he needed it. Don't really have any idea how, but trust me, he's gonna be fine. Anyway,
Yeah, we have nothing
Oliver
on this
converted
kid.
his legs and leapt at Jake and Anna again. Soon Khalida, pieced back together, came at them again too, and the battle between the students really got underway. With, of course, the occasional interruption by Luddles. In the last couple months, Jake and Anna hadn't just become skilled fighters on their own, but had become so acutely aware of how the other fought and moved that they might as well have been one fighter. Anna kept them both from getting hit. Jake flew them around when need be, and if their opponents ever did land a blow, Jake could heal them between hits. Jake's green globs of slime that he could make and hurl did little more than a decent punch, and were totally ineffective as anything more than a distraction to Khalida.
You know, I wonder if the gyms are playing any factor in this. Like in the formation of them being a couple and their fighting abilities becoming more in sync. Since, as we were told by Godfrey, that the gyms were made by the archangels to fight demons. So if more people with the gyms are fighting together over time, does that change their mental state or emotions in any way? We'll never know.
But when Oliver wasn't being upgraded by his demon, they could hit him pretty hard. The Tahe couple were fighting so well that Anna even managed to take out a few Luddles to rack up her points. Luddles of both Dresden and Alexis Jones from the Sharp Gang had showed up.
Ooh, awesome.
The Luddle with Alexis's Reaper form was particularly intimidating, as she was one of the few people in the multiverse who could go toe-to-toe with an Archon demon. But thankfully, this Luddle wasn't nearly that powerful. Anna used the tactic on the Alexis Luddle that Jake had intended to use on the Sterling one. Jake flew Anna up above it, and together they tackled it. Then Anna made them all intangible as they fell through a platform. She kept holding Jake, but let go of the Luddle as they passed through the stone, leaving it inside to die instantly as it became tangible in the rock. Meanwhile, Khalida and Oliver basically ignored each other. The only time they even acknowledged the other was when one of them got in the other's way. Powers-wise, they both had a significant leg up on Jake, and maybe Anna too, in terms of combat potential. But with him and Anna working in unison, the two LAFF kids were no match. But as well as Jake and Anna were fighting, they were both growing concerned with how long this was taking. Jake especially wanted to get to the rest of the team so he could heal them if need be, and so they could all do this together. Khalida eventually took out the Dresden Luddle in a rage. She seemed to be getting more and more manic as the battle went on. Eventually, she shrieked.
Just let me flay you! I've got to report this event to the Archonic Goddess!
Wait,
Jake and Anna landed on a platform a short way away from her, and Jake yelled.
Wait, what does that mean? Do you work for an Archon?
She snarled.
Please, the Archons will mean nothing when the Archonic Goddess reaches her full power, and my father has assured that we will be among her most...
Oh, now I know who she's talking about. Archonic Goddess. It'd be the one and only person to actually consume an Archon. I can't remember her name, but I know she's terrible.
Trusted disciples.
Jake and Anna looked at each other uncertainly. But then Jake was alarmed as he saw someone on Anna's other side.
My guess is she's talking about that Tassa lady who stole one of the Archon's
Yes! Huh!
powers.
Anna nearly jumped out of her skin as she turned to see the black-clad student back once again.
Whoa, wait, what? Weren't you eaten? How did you beat that sea monster thing?
Don't worry about it.
I got the best of that thing by doing it.
He leaned in dramatically and whispered.
Off screen.
His mask moved as if he winked after saying that. Jake and Anna just stared at him.
Who
Jake
the hell
finally
is this
said,
guy?
What does that mean? Khalida leapt towards them all again. Jake and Anna evaded to one side, but this new kid leapt right in front of her and let Khalida tackle him into the black water. They vanished for a few seconds, and Jake thought this new guy might just disappear for a while again. But soon after, a plume of water burst up. Khalida was raised out of the water, held in the sea monster Little's mouth, with the new kid riding on its head. Khalida was bound in her own chains and clearly couldn't get them off, as she was dropped onto the platform next to Jake and Anna.
Okay.
The black-clad student was lowered down, leapt off the Little's head, then pet its creepy long mouth as he said,
That's a good boy, Bagushkin. Now you go swim or whatever it is you do.
But Guskin?
Jake and Anna stared
What?
in shock.
What?
Jake said, How the heck did you do that? Who are you?
Okay, I am loving this off-screen character. We gotta figure out his power set immediately.
Come on, guys, you don't get it? It's me. Off screen. Just trying to not say it so loud so that TV freak up there hears me. I think thankfully he's focusing on something else though right now.
Yeah.
Still, Jake and Anna just stared.
Why would he
Anna
be worried
said,
about that?
Sorry, off screen, but have we met before? I mean, technically no.
He said, still fairly cheerfully.
But I'm sure Mr. Sharp must have mentioned me before, off-screen. I was his intern for a bit, I was the show host at his funeral the second time he died.
Show host? Jake asked.
Whatever it's called, the presentator or something. Point is, I'm here to help. I know you guys got a plan to take down Ludum, and I'm here to make sure it goes all smooth and whatnot.
Oh my god.
Plus I want to get at Psychopedalic because of what he did to my team, the Film Fatales.
Jake's eyes widened.
Wait, the Femme Fatale?
You're with the Film Fatales? They're like
Film Fatale.
crazy overpowered, aren't they? When the Sharp Gang beat the first Archon, it was only with the help of one of those guys. Plot device, right? He made a barrier that could trap an Archon so the entire Sharp Gang could wail on her until Alexis could take her out.
Offscreen nodded and tapped his nose.
So that's how the first Archon was defeated. Thanks to plot device.
Yes, indeedy. I started interning with them just before they decided to try going after Psychopedalic up there themselves. But the Archon seemed to be ready and waiting for them, because he made some kind of crazy big black hole thing that sucked the whole team in and sent them to Bagul knows where. Thankfully, I was able to get out of there, but I ain't got no idea what happened to the Fatales. I don't think they died, but I also ain't been able to find them anywhere neither. And I may not got plot devices powers, but I do got the power to do almost anything you need when I'm off screen. Like when nobody's looking at me.
Anna leaned closer.
Oh, okay.
Anything? Like, well, I guess like tame a little.
He nodded.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
those things ain't sentient enough to
That.
count as something looking at me. But I can do other stuff too. Like rigging this place up with explosives in the walls.
Wait,
He
you did
tapped a
what?
button on a device on his wrist, and a small explosion burst from one of the walls in the arena. As the dust and rubble cleared, two of the Mavericks, Darwin and Amelia, both peered through the hole. Off-screen waved at
What
them.
the?
See guys, I told you I had you back.
Oh my god. This off-screen character literally can do anything, but only when no one is looking at him. That is literally the equivalent of you can turn invisible, but only when nobody is looking at you.
Hey everybody, it's Offscreen here, and I'm doing the ad read for the Popcraft Library today with all the novels and coloring books and the art book.
Off screen, buddy, I missed you. Where you been?
Ain't it obvious, Mr. Shop? I've been off screen.
Yeah, I know. I just wanted to hear you say it, kid. So, is we finally gonna find out if, you actually got superpowers today? Because I'm still kind of skeptical. I think you're just a really weirdly resourceful kid who can pull off weird stuff when nobody's looking at you.
That
I don't
is
think it's a
something.
superpower.
Hey, you can think that if you want, Dr. Champagne, but I know someone who's really spooked by my powers.
Oh yeah? Who's that?
Well, you're gonna find out pretty soon.
Oh, we putting sizzle for the actual video people are watching in the ad reads now? That's a weird
Sweet.
thing to do. Yeah, extra weird when we're not actually doing any of the ad read at all.
Ah, it's fine. I was flipping through the books. People get the idea. You can find these in either the Popgrass Amazon bookstore or Blurb bookstore. Both linked in the description. Now back into the video.
Pretty much just to make it simple, here's a bunch of beautiful pictures. Here are some amazing drawings to color yourself, and here are 3 amazing stories, done and done. Oh, and of course these have fully colored art pieces that go with them.
Yeah.
And Anna both instinctively
And there they are, off screen.
cheered as Amelia, half turned into her monstrosity form, grabbed Darwin and leapt over to the platform off-screen and their classmates were standing on. They exchanged quick hugs. Darwin had a few bruises and scrapes, but no significant injuries. Amelia had a big gash in her arm, though it didn't seem to be bothering her much. Jake started healing it enough to stop the bleeding as Amelia explained. Our arena was a maze-like one full of human-dinosaur hybrids. We found Alex, or off-screen here, soon after the battle began riding one of the Luddles. He asked us to help him get out of sight from the crowd and cameras, claiming if we did that, he could get us to the rest of our class. Darwin then added,
can he?
Yeah, then Monstrosity literally just tore up some rocks and made a little hut for him to hide in. We got distracted fighting Luddles after that, but when we looked back, the rocks were all toppled over, so we didn't know if he just ran away or what. But I guess you held up your end. How did you get here, Alex? He smiled proudly.
By doing it off screen.
He tapped another button on his forearm.
Like doing it off screen.
And another explosion burst from one of the walls of the arena, opening a path to another region. Jake could see a battle going on inside, but couldn't tell from the distance who was in there. Still, he was excited. That's amazing off-screen. Let's go. Oh, but... He turned to see Oliver still brawling with one of the Luddles. The red mollusk one was back and was shooting beams of water at him while bounding around from other platforms. It sprang up and over him to try and get him from above, as Oliver blocked with his demon-formed arms. In that moment, Jake shot over and tackled the Luddle with his shoulder. Instead of landing on the platform it had aimed for, it splashed into the water. Jake quickly yelled, Look, Oliver, we're all gonna find a way to get out of here together. You can either come help us do that faster, or stay here and fight Luddles until we get this done. Before Oliver could answer, Nightmare spoke for him.
An intriguing proposition. Why don't you come closer and we can discuss it further?
Shut up.
Smoke started
Punch.
billowing off Oliver and moving towards Jake. But then, Oliver turned back to the Luddle, bounding out of the water again. He muttered, Just get out of here, even if I cared to help you. Nightmare would just make sure I wound up slowing you down. Jake wanted to try and convince him otherwise, but he knew he could be right.
Nightmare is a nightmare.
Plus, at least for now, Jake's priority had to be his own team. He left Oliver brawling and flew back over to his friends. Amelia had picked up the still-bound Khalida, knowing if she was left behind she could be torn up by Luddles. Darwin had summoned his Titanoboa Basilisk to carry him and off-screen across the water. Jake grabbed Anna and they all headed off for the opening.
World's biggest
When he flew
snake.
through, Jake quickly caught sight of a chaotic, but also encouraging scene. They'd come into the arena where Waru and Katas had been put up against Zenith and Niseko, but in there along with them was Alsaya and Kiko. They were working together to take out a bunch of fire-based Luddles coming at them, as Waru and Katas were helping one of their own classmates, Shinobu Kohaku, to take out a huge Juggernaut Luddle. Waru had his Strength Orb active and tackled full force into the Luddle's leg. That just barely sent it tumbling over, as Katas hurled her Starblade straight up into the air, then grabbed Shinobu, who was wielding her own mighty club. When the blade was high enough, Waru sent his Strength Orb out of his own chest and into Katas. A surge of red energy burst from her. Then, holding Shinobu, she teleported up to her weapon, whipped her body around, and threw Shinobu straight down onto the Luddle's back like a meteor. Before the beast could get up, Shinobu slammed her club down onto its back with the full weight of Katas's throw, and its body was pile-driven straight down into the stony earth. Rocks exploded up around Shinobu and the beast. Shinobu gracefully leapt off it and marched away, not needing to look back to know that that Luddle wasn't getting up. Waru called his Strength Orb back, then looked over and saw the other Mavericks running and slithering onto the scene. Once he spotted off-screen, he smirked. Knew you'd have something up your sleeve, Alex. Good stuff, 'cause my plan didn't exactly work out.
No worries, buddy, old pal. Was easy peasy deluxe.
Off-screen bragged gleefully.
What? What is going on?
Lidum shrieked from up above.
Alex, what are you doing with those Tahe whelps? Do not even for a second hint to me that you are helping them after I gave you a chance to show that you deserve to be one of my top students.
Sorry, Ludum. I mean, I'm not really sorry. I only came to your school after an old buddy of the Film Fatales reached out trying to find them and told me what was going on here. I
Yep.
wasn't exactly the help he wanted, but he dug the idea of me infiltrating your school to help the Mavericks.
Wait, the film, but... No,
Uh-oh.
I know that insufferable voice.
Psycho Paradelict interrupted, sounding genuinely distressed.
How are you here? You can't be here. I made sure none of you logic-breaking, nonsensical super freaks could ever get back into the Eldrin multiverse.
Off
whoops,
screen.
I guess I shouldn't have mentioned my buddies now that you're paying attention, TV face. Guess the goose is loose now. At least I can take this off.
Alex ripped off his mask, loosing his
Who?
curly hair.
Man, oh mama, it's been stuffy in there.
Psycho Paradelict stood up from his throne of camera tendrils, looking absolutely livid. Suddenly, more of those tendrils burst up from the ground around Offscreen and the Mavericks, and aimed their cameras and microphones right towards Alex.
Do not let that little logic shatterer out of our sight for a single second, or he'll ruin everything.
Ah, good
Psycho
luck.
Paradelict suddenly leapt off his
Not.
platform and started falling straight down towards the arena. The entire class was frozen in shock, seeing an Archon headed towards them. But then, Ludum's arm made of tassels unraveled and stretched down after Psycho, wrapping around two of his arms and catching him before he could fall through the barrier.
What is this? You say I can't change the rules of the game, but now you think you can just leap in and intervene?
Ludum, I will tear you to pieces, then reassemble you, and repeat for 100 years unless you let me go and let me eviscerate that brat.
Oof, you'd have to
Milsec flew
automate
down
that.
next to where Psycho hung, and Kaijagrex let his platform float down next to him too, intrigued. Romilosek said,
What's got you so riled up, Psycho?
Kaijagrex added,
Yes, it's been some time since I've seen you this afraid.
I am not afraid, you dolt. I just know what that little reality breaker is capable of. Him and that whole team of atrocious anomalies wouldn't even exist if it weren't for... Just never mind.
You?
I have to get rid of him now before he can get out of sight.
Alex,
Psycho, are you the reason the film Fatales even existed? And because your whole thing is, media, videos, all of that?
suddenly chuckled.
Well, it is a bummer to have so many eyes on me now, but there was plenty of time in this last week when I was all on my lonesome, puttering around, setting stuff up, off screen. Speaking of which, thanks for leaving a nice big opening for some of that stuff to pay off now. Hey, Ludum, I always wanted to say this, on your left.
Ludum whipped her head to her left
What do you bong?
and saw nothing.
I made you look.
Suddenly, from a platform
I was expecting that to be something.
that had slowly floated down just above Ludum and to her right, a figure leapt off and smashed his low-tech mechanical knee right into Ludum's jaw. She shrieked in pain and fury and slipped off the side of her control platform. Trying to keep me away just guaranteed I'd be back for you ASAP, Ludum. Now get ready to eat it in your own arena. Well, he was too
Off-screen may have said on your left, but it was on his left.
far to see completely clearly. Jake recognized the booming voice immediately.
Professor Goggins? How?
That's a good
Off-screen
question.
explained.
He was the buddy who reached out to the Fatales. Since they wasn't around, I offered to help him out instead, and now, here we are.
Ah.
I figured Ludum was gonna have something
okay.
cooking for when that whole combat tournament thing got underway, so when I found out what that was ahead of time and this whole Death Arena nonsense thing was gonna go down, I made sure I could get him transported into this realm when all the other overseers was showing up to watch, so Ludum wouldn't be suspicious about another person teleporting in here with the rest of the crowd.
Anna then asked,
Perfect.
But this realm is locked. Without a Sharp Gang Mujwa wood or Ludum's permission, how did you get him in?
Well, obviously, by doing it.
Right, yeah, we got it.
Off-screen.
Jake interrupted. Well, however you did it, awesome job.
He does actually say off-screen a little too much, but I know that's just meant to be because it's like his whole thing.
Goggins hit a bunch of buttons on the control platform. Almost instantly, though, Ludum had called another platform under her, landed on it, and lashed more of her tassels up at Goggins. She hit him right in the chest and he hurtled off the platform, spiraling towards the earth. Ludum pulled herself up to the platform and hit a bunch of controls herself.
How dare you? What did you... The barriers are up. They're still up. You failed. They're still...
Oh, that wasn't his goal. His goal was to do one thing. Well, technically two. And the first is to unlock the dimension. That's gotta be it.
up.
Suddenly, Goggins' fall halted, and he was left hovering in the air.
Not all of them, Eloise.
Nope.
The usually kind
That's
and
better.
peaceful voice
That's
of
better.
Evangeline Trismegistus echoed across the sky as she floated up next to Goggins. A massive swirl of wind and golden light spiraled around her. Her eyes glowed, and a form like a massive aura of a key emanated around her body.
I could transport myself and my students to freedom, Eloise, but they deserve this chance to play a part in your downfall. Your treachery, your torment of the multiverse ends today.
She pressed her hand to her
Finally.
chest and spoke, seemingly to someone not present in the realm.
The plan has changed. Bring the battle here. We can do this.
Eloise
time.
shrieked.
Who are you talking to? No. No!
Of
Who
course.
is entering my realm without my permission?
Suddenly, in a swirl of stones and purple mist, a figure appeared next to Evangeline, with 3 colored rings spinning around her head. A purple Reaper's scythe
The
spawned
Reaper.
behind her back.
Thanks, Evangeline,
Alexis said.
the others are on their way from the Nexus Point.
Furious, Ludum growled.
Oh, so that's it. You want a war in my own realm. I will
got it.
enjoy watching you regret this decision, Trismegistus.
She hit a series of buttons
He's
on her
mad.
panel, and a burst of purple light exploded off it, sending a shockwave that seemed to soar across her entire planet.
Students, your final exam is at hand, and Littles, kill everyone.
Oh,
Chorus
shit.
of laughs echoed from inside and outside the arenas, from the Little Lands all around them. The
So, yeah, that means the Littles are not just going after the students now, but even the Overseals. So I hope some of these Overseals have some decent enough powers.
loudest of them was
They're
like a
gonna die.
monstrous cannon exploding as a winged beast burst up from the confines of the arena, casting a shadow over the Mavericks. Ludum had unleashed the Little Caunus. Jake had no idea if this battle was the right move. They were still in Ludum's realm. She still had control. Plus, would the Archons help her? Either way, Ludum was right about one thing.
Nah, they don't-
This
they
was
don't help.
war.
They steal.
Jake knew he wasn't in charge of everyone on their side, but he felt he was responsible for his own team. Whatever Jake had to do, he would make sure that by the time this was over, no matter how hard they got hit, how hard they were knocked down, the Mavericks would all be able to get back up.
Yes, yes, yes! Jake, it's time for you to become the ultimate healer.
Whew! That was a big, crazy episode. And I know lots of you have already very kindly done this in the comment section of the Make-A-Wish video. Well, let's all give Alex another big welcome to the official Multiverse Tales canon. If you haven't seen that video, again, I do highly recommend checking it out. It's not my usual type of video, but I do think it's a really good one. And besides that,
Really
that's all
nice.
for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of
Positive
positive
or
or
inspiring
inspiring
note.
And the thought I want to leave people with today is a quote I read this week from a man named Brendan Burchard, who said, "When someone
familiar.
disrespects you, beware the impulse to try and win their respect. For disrespect is not a valuation of your worth, but a signal of their character." I think that's a really good one to remember.
That is a good one.
I hope it's inspiring. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next episode on Friday. Goodbye.
Alright everyone, and that's going to be the end of today's video, and I hope you all enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Link to the original will be in the description below, and I'll see all of y'all next time when we flick back on. Till then, this is Fox, signing out. Peace.